Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dick's Dorks and Destinies.
What a
Edwin
great
Chapel.
start.
Yeah, a wonderful
Uh,
start, guys.
you can tell it's morning.
Yeah,
You done fucked up the intro.
it'll be all right. We're gonna leave that in. I do all the editing anyway, so we're gonna leave that in.
This is the second version of Dick's Dorks and Destinies. Dorks, Dicks, and Destinies.
Dick's Dorks and Dumbasses.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
Okay,
Oh.
so today
We
we're
got
gonna.
Chapel, we got Ken and Kid here.
Yeah, yeah. Crash is not with us today, but that's all right. That's all right. We're gonna.
No. Poor Crash is going through sensitivity training right now.
We gotta teach him to be a more sensitive boy.
You can't call that dumbass a dumbass to his face. It hurts his feelings. Well, fuck that dumbass over there.
I'm only joking about the sensitivity training. I just find it funny. He said he had to go in for training, so
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like everybody's got to be like, oh, my feelings. You know what? We need some cybernetic augmentations for fucking people's feelings now. Okay?
You know what? I tell you what, there could be a way to make that happen.
That'd be
what
fantastic.
realm of cyber augmentations are we talking here?
We're talking anything.
Anything?
Yeah, anything.
So
Just, there's
if
the realm of
if I wanted to
possibilities.
full on Rick Sanchez myself and have some serious augmentations to my body.
Man, I don't know about some Rick Sanchez, but I tell you what, I already got a metal spine. I already got the core component needed to screw more stuff into place. Hey man, let's do like some edge runners and get me that experimental military back piece. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Mm.
Or, fuck, man.
So
I don't know. With that, I think I kind of do like the whole Rick Sanchez one because he's got limbs and shit grafted. So
See, and that's the beauty of it. And honestly, I'm not really 100% sure why we haven't reached that era yet. I mean, we all can say we've seen some of the prosthesis stuff that has already come out, and
oh yeah,
it's just borderline augmented, like borderline.
Yeah.
all they've got to do is fully tap into the nervous system with some of these prostheses, and it's full on cybernetic arm
I think
or
that's
leg or foot or hand.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem right now. They don't have a way of connecting the nerve endings to the electronics properly.
Well, it's not really only that. It also, I imagine it falls along the lines of the anti-human testing.
Yeah, it does.
Because if anything did go wrong, like let's say for example that you did, we use an arm for an example. You try to reconnect an arm with a cyber augmentation. Well, you're gonna have to connect it to the nervous system without damaging the nerves itself. And then on top of that, what happens if that thing goes haywire? Now you got what? You got a device that can probably crush up to, 8, 9, a ton
Yes,
at a
that's
time.
Man,
you went
if
that way. That's
you
not
are
where my
jacking
head
off
went.
with your prosthetic arm and
That's
it
where
goes
I was going.
haywire. That is a really bad time.
Arm, activate self jack off mode. In the middle of it, it goes haywire. Too tight.
See, now, what I'm actually more interested in is, and I'm not even gonna lie, is the neuroptics version of cyber augmentation. Do you know how useful that could actually end up being?
Oh my god, could you imagine somebody just hacking, with their eyes into every
Oh,
camera around you.
Well,
so
not even
basically, you're
just
wanting
that.
something like Black Mirror because they had an episode like that on Black Mirror where they had neuroptics and shit, and
See, I was
and
kind of
the guy
more
went
thinking.
completely crazy because he seen a picture of his girlfriend or wife with one of her exes, and he just lost it. So
I mean, that
See, I
just
was
seems like a story-driven kind of bullshit thing. Go ahead, Ken.
I was more so thinking along the lines of, okay, so you got people that like were either born blind or stuff like that, right? Now,
Mm-hmm.
you go ahead and install a cybernetic camera in into where their eyes used to be, and then you connect it to the neurowaves in the brain. Well, now you got someone that was born blind who can now see, and not only can they just see, they can actually see in crystal clarity.
Yeah, and better than you, and in wavelengths that you can't see in.
right.
Exactly. I'm also thinking about the idea of, and this runs off like if our viewers know Cyberpunk 2077 or even Edge Runners or hell even Ghost in the Shell. They've all taken dips into it. Even Futurama have taken dips
Oh
into
yeah.
it.
Well, Ghost in the Shell is basically all about cybernetic police force and shit.
Yeah.
Right. But now think about the fact of like, and this has always made me curious because you see our cell phones today and you see where they've been advancing, and then now they're working on like wristbands that will pull up like a full HUD display over your arm. I'm really interested to see if they're ever actually thinking about implants that like you could be driving down the road and kid, this would probably be like the best for you. So you're driving down the road and you're getting a phone call. Well, you don't need your physical phone anymore. Now, in the corner of your peripheral visions, you see a message of who is calling you.
Yeah, I could see that, but with my profession, it is not exactly the uh best in the world because I've seen too many drivers out there as of late who are, watching full-blown 10.5 tablets while going down the road. I could just imagine what's going to go wrong with that if you
Right.
have it in your peripheral vision.
I
Well,
mean,
think of it this way. What if it's instead of being able to see it in full HUD, especially like depending on what you're doing and looking at light refraction, it could be translucent or opaque so that
No,
it's
I
just
mean,
enough to show you that hey, you're receiving a phone call.
I would like that, something like that. I mean, hell, I've always wanted, and I know this isn't exactly on the topic, but the first Iron Man film, Tony Stark's computer system.
A Jarvis. Yeah. I mean,
No,
it's
no,
and
not Jarvis, but the actual computer system where he fucking it digitizes a keyboard and everything else. He's able to pull up full blown schematics of shit and
oh, yep.
customize it with his own hands and shit.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
I would love for our technology to advance to that point.
And you know what? That actually could even be a part of like cybernetic augmentation if you're really thinking about it. I mean, still again, like if you want to do something like that, you just virtually connect a computer inside of yourself and then you're able to do all of those things.
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, that's true.
I genuinely think even though, it you take the good with the bad. People will abuse the
I
hell
mean, yeah,
out of cyber
it,
augmentation.
it
Of
doesn't
course they
matter
will.
on it doesn't matter where we go with that. If it's all for good, all for bad, someone somewhere is going to find some way to manipulate the system to use it for their own fucking purposes and shit.
Which is true.
Like
But I
having
also
having
kind
a
of always
fully cybernetic super soldier army to terrorize the world with or some bullshit.
Right.
Or the flip side of that, having a fully autonomous like sex doll that doesn't have any rights because it's not, alive.
Okay. We all know that's what you want, Chapel, but we need you to
Okay,
take about
okay.
10% down there,
I was
Squirrely
about
Dan.
to go there. Okay, Squirrely Dan, bring it about 10% down.
No,
Actually, go
I'm
ahead.
mostly thinking about it for so my grandmother, and I'm sure a lot of people, it's not a uncommon medical condition. But like for people that have like muscular sclerosis and, degenerative diseases and all these kinds of things. Um
Even the ones with like muscular dystrophy or whatever that is.
yeah, exactly. Like my grandmother, for instance, has both. She has MD and MS.
Yeah.
So it makes her a very weak person. But now if you imagine, even if we could get, even without an internal augmentation, what if it was even just as much as an exoskeleton? Something that you can
Yeah.
put on and will strap itself to your body. Well, now you got someone who can't lift over 20 pounds, who can at least lift over 50, 70, hell, even maybe up to 100.
Are you kidding? If they're putting on an exoskeleton, they're probably able to lift up a car and toss that thing like they're Iron Man.
Not necessarily. If you really think about, okay, so you also got to take into account what the human body can also do. And I mean in the factor of if you have someone that's got all these kinds of diseases and stuff, their muscles are only going to be able to move this exoskeleton so much.
Listen,
Like limitations.
yeah.
You would have to put limitations on. Otherwise, I mean, for Christ's sakes, you're gonna go toss your baby up in the air. Whoop! Well, oh shit, that was a plane.
With an exosuit like that, like I said, mech suit. That's all I gotta say. You're gonna go strap on a full body Gundam.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm gonna get weird here for a second. What about the people that do like the Bigfoot hunts and stuff and like look for cryptids? You give them a bunch of cyber augmentations and then they just run off into the woods, never to be seen
Well,
again.
see, now here's the problem. They're gonna run off into the woods, probably jerk off a few too many times, realize that they just, ripped off their penis, and now they're running around going,
I mean,
they found drugs.
there's cyber augmentations for that. You can replace your torn penis with like a Gatling gun or a minigun.
Okay, Squirrely Dan. Another 5% there.
Oh,
I'm a try, but
I'm a try.
he's the one that brought up the jacking off this time. Okay, it wasn't me.
No, but you just went full blown into replacing your penis with a fucking Gatling gun.
Well, we were already talking about how we were going to squeeze it too hard and rip it off. You got to do something there. It can't be just a fleshy torn bits hanging down.
It would be more along the lines of like a miniature sized jackhammer, not a fucking Gatling gun.
Okay, hang on.
Jesus, I don't
Hang
need.
on.
I
I
don't
drop
need
a Gatling
some
gun in
pervert.
there. I'm sorry. I drop a minigun in there, and I need to calm the fuck down. You're over here going full Wild Wild West, whatever his fucking name was, with an artificial penis, like pumping shit out, and I'm the bad guy.
See, when I imagine the Gatling gun thing, I'm thinking Quentin Tarantino's From Dusk Till Dawn, where you see that one feller just all of a sudden, thrust his pelvis forward, and you see a twin barrels and where his nuts should be, a couple of drum mags.
See,
Like, so I'm imagining that's where Chapel is
I'm not
going,
the only
and then I'm seeing Kid over here, some fucked up fantasy of a sexy like construction worker with a jackhammer cock going, yeah, tear up that asphalt.
And the whole time the thing's going doom 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 doom.
Here, let me turn it up.
People are going to hear this and go, I'm not sure if I want to listen to this podcast anymore.
People
We will
listen
never
to our
get-
podcast.
We will
They're
never
gonna be
get
like,
monetization
"Why?"
because we've already reached permanent demonetization.
And
We're paying them.
people in charge over at Spotify are going to hear this and go, why did we let these people have a podcast?
Did no one screen these guys before we allowed them to start up a podcast?
Nope.
We
You
did,
sure
but
as
their
shit
background, checks look solid. We didn't know that they were fucked up, mentally insane, and want to use a jackhammer dildo penis attachment. How are we supposed to know?
I mean, at that point, it's like if you haven't figured out that a bunch of middle-aged men, are trying to make a podcast, it's like there's no telling what's going to come out of these fucking people's mouths.
Right.
Oh no, I just feel like that in a genuine aspect, cyber augmentation, not only is it cool as fuck, but like it is doable. It's completely possible. Even in like all these shows and shit, they do have solid theories as to how you could get this to work. The problem that we're running into still is the whole human test subject thing. However, I don't see why it would necessarily be a problem, especially if someone's willing to sign a waiver and is like, yeah, I'm willing to be an experiment on this. Like,
that
I
doesn't
understand.
matter.
No, I mean,
ethically, it's
and-
wrong. It's
That-
ethically
that-
wrong.
that's where it goes into the whole RoboCop situation.
yeah, well, we could also look at, if we really want to talk ethically, we might need another episode just for the ethics of our humanity and our civilization and the shit we've done. You want to talk about something being ethically wrong. They'll draw the line on that, but they won't draw the line on chemical warfare?
No.
Why would they draw a line on chemical
definitely
warfare?
there is definitely laws against chemical warfare now. There's a reason why we don't use mustard gas in wars anymore.
Yeah, now.
Yeah. I was
Yes,
about to get
now,
there.
because now is the
Now.
present day that we're fucking talking about.
But there was nothing like that in whenever it was used. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we dropped 2 atomic bombs on Japan. What was the ethical? Where was the ethics behind that?
The
Because
ethics
they
behind
bombed
that
us?
was the ethics behind the atomic bomb was surrender or we're going to destroy a city because we don't want to go in, sacrifice 1 million people to kill 1 million people and make you surrender. So you're either going to surrender now.
We did more than just annihilate a city.
Yeah, I know. But you have to realize we sent a letter. We asked them to surrender. They said, the Emperor's advisors said there's no way they have a weapon that powerful. They don't have a weapon that powerful. There's no way. And so we bombed the first city, Nagasaki. And then we sent them a letter and said, surrender or we're going to bomb another city. And his advisors were like, oh, no, there's no way they got another one of those. So then we bombed
had
Hiroshima.
One.
We had 2.
Right. But we had one when we first told them.
No.
And then we had I know we had both of them already.
The thing is we actually had more. But after the second one, he ignored his advisors and surrendered. Because the thing is if we invaded Japan, we were going to lose a man for every inch of that land we took. And we didn't want to sacrifice our own people. That was the ethics behind it. Is we're going to kill the enemy without sacrificing our soldiers.
Yeah, but still, I mean,
you asked where the ethics were. So I'm telling you.
I wouldn't count that though as ethics. That was just us being
No,
extremely pissed
no,
off because that we got bombed.
No, it wasn't about that anymore. Because at that point we had already destroyed their navy. They had no navy
Yeah.
left, so we were past the point of being upset about being bombed. At that point, we were just trying to stop the war, because Hitler had already given up at this point. Like Germany had already surrendered.
I thought Germany gave up. I thought Germany gave up before Japan.
You know what? I will double check.
I'm just sitting here trying to imagine, Chapel over there with a wiener cyber augmentation, and instead of it being a nuclear explosion, it's just gonna be a big mess. You hear a little whistle. Well, the wall's painted.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Why?
I mean,
why did you?
What? Wait,
Okay,
what?
Nazi Germany surrendered on May 8th. Japan surrendered
what,
on
1944?
my birthday. Japan surrendered on August 15th, 1945.
Okay, so Germany did surrender before Japan.
Japan let the war go an extra 3 months. So no, at that point it was just about stopping the war.
Yeah, I see that point, but still, I just we literally bombed them back to the damn Stone Age.
Yeah, and you know what? We helped them back, and now they're one of our closest allies.
For now, until we do something that pisses them off.
We're allies until Chapel goes over there with his Gatling gun wiener.
You know what? It's Japan. That would not be the strangest thing they've ever seen, okay?
Sir, we're gonna need to confiscate that. There are no guns allowed in this country.
You got gun dick!
Sir, that's a permanent attachment. It don't come off. I mean, it comes, but it doesn't come off.
We're gonna have to put a safety lock on that. So just hold still for a minute, please.
Just put the padlocks on the barrels, and when I spin it, they'll they'll spread out. I'm gonna make a real nice vibration sensation.
Oh my god!
Fucking hell! Oh my god!
You asked for this. You brought this back into the conversation. I was trying to be civil.
We don't need a chastity build anymore with those augmentations. We just need fucking padlocks. Oh my god. Put a gun sheath over it, just...
Sir, I'm going to need you to keep that in your pants. I said keep it in your pants!
It's still attached.
Stop rotating it. It's weird. Mobile suit gun cock activate.
Hi, big boy. Is that a gun in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
It's both.
It's both. Oh my god. Just give it a little rotating system so that, when he's happy, it just goes... points up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Give him a 6-barrel salute. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh my god. Jesus.
Instead of instant transmission, it's instant pregnation.
Oh man. I'm starting to regret cyber augmentation as a topic. I thought this was going to be about, video games and TV shows and movies. Nope. It's all about Chapel shooting a 6-barrel cannon.
A rotating 6-barrel cannon.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
With padlocks for extra vibration.
Yeah.
We need a fucking soundboard.
Yes, we do.
Just for this particular instance, for
Yeah.
just the button to go, bruh.
We just honestly we need a soundboard, and it needs to have at least a couple Pee Wee Herman sounds in there.
You know what? Actually, speaking of that, it a little off topic yet again, but I remember watching Pee Wee's Big Adventure and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It is sad to know that that man has passed away. He genuinely brought joy to people. Like,
Yeah.
he was a
No,
great
yeah,
actor.
he brought joy to people, and I grew up watching sort of grew up watching Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
A
Yep.
lot of
I
actors
think
got
the
their
I think
start there.
the I think the worst thing about him at the time was him in a movie theater.
Hey,
But
hang on. He went to a porn movie theater. Who the hell just stands there like a fucking stiff at a porn theater and doesn't touch themselves, okay? That sounds like a setup.
Jesus, here I was trying to give the man credit and say rest in peace, and here you
I
guys
am
are
too.
like, porn.
I'm not dragging his name through the mud because he did what any normal sane person would do. I think the man deserves,
I said that was the worst thing that I've ever heard about him.
yeah.
The man was a great actor. I wasn't dragging him through the mud either. I mean,
Well, because
let's be honest, not many men alive that goes to an actual porn movie theater and sits down is going to keep their hands off their Johnson. So
yeah. Well, the thing is he got arrested for that, and after that, he was labeled a pervert all the time because he was associated with a kids program, and then he got caught touching himself while he was at a porn theater.
he was one of the damn three little kids in Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one he was, but
That's
he
right.
was. You got Lock, Shock, and Barrel, so I don't remember which one he was, but I know he was one of them.
Yeah,
because he voiced
I
that
forgot
character.
about that. Yep, that's right.
Man, we should have gave him
So
some
you can
cyber
label
augmentations.
you can label the man as a pervert all you want, but the man was a really fucking great actor, and he made a lot of people happy.
Yeah,
I
he
agree with
did.
that.
So what
And-
if he made himself happy in a porn theater?
He's just doing what the rest of us want to do. Or already are doing. We're just a little bit sneakier about it.
Chapel.
Nope,
I'll deal
nope.
I got it. Nope. Hold on. I just a man in a black suit with a black bag just is standing right here, and hold on, he handed me another letter. Tell Chapel to stop, or yada yada. The Illuminati's speaking to you, Chapel. Better calm down.
They're gonna have to come over here because they need to give me my money.
They need to give you your money.
Yeah. I made my job offer. They can either take it or leave it. Either leave me the fuck alone or pay me to stop.
I need my payment as well, because I mean I'm doing my job.
Either pay me to stop or leave me alone.
I need to get paid just to hang out with you. That's what I need.
Hold on. The entertainment, the endless amount of entertainment you get for hanging out with me is your payment.
As Stephen He would say, emotional damage. Oh, Jesus.
No, I know some people that I would require payment to hang out with.
Oh,
So do
man.
I.
Yeah, mostly Afterbirth, but we'll talk about him on a different episode.
We already talked about him plenty.
There's plenty more to tell.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I really think at some point we should do a fine dining with Angry Rednecks episode.
Oh dear Lord.
That will be the end of our career.
No, I don't think so. I think if anything, it'll be the start of our popularity. Because
So,
it's
so long as the fine dining people don't know about this.
listen,
Right.
listen. Here's the thing, kid. It's one thing for me to tell it. It's another thing for you to be there and remind me of all the parts I've forgotten about.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Because
that,
one
well,
one of my favorite memories was watching that bottle bounce off of Jamie's forehead and him swiping at it while it bounced between his face and the steering wheel.
Jesus. Anywho, last episode we derailed pretty bad, so this episode,
we're right on track.
Yeah.
We have derailment in every episode so far,
uh,
except for the first.
Well,
yeah,
it's
because
okay.
you weren't there.
It's okay. It's okay. So what? Okay, so let's think about this. What do you think the most common idea of a cybernetic augmentation would be?
I would say it would definitely be like the armor leg prosthesis reattachments. More than likely. It would
I
be
would say
something
more
along
than
that.
likely that would be, all the people who are quadriplegic, paraplegic, all the people who are missing one or both legs above or below the kneecap, one or both arms. I mean, I
Yeah,
really don't.
it
I
would
really wouldn't
definitely be an
say someone would
exterior.
go as far as just getting cyber augmentation fingers because they were stupid enough to get one removed by some freak accident. But
Hey, leave my disfigurements
definitely,
alone.
definitely prosthetics and that would be the number one for augmentation.
Okay. Okay, so you both agree that like extremities like your arms and legs would be probably the most common.
Yep,
Oh yeah.
like hands, feet, arms, legs, all of those for sure.
Okay. So and we're going to do this one at a time. What do you think the most advanced version of that would be?
The most
The,
Yeah, just
advanced.
go crazy with it. Let your
Um,
imagination run wild. What's the most advanced cybernetic augmentation you can think of?
Wolverine claws.
I was gonna
You
go
can't.
ahead and say like the multi-attachment hands for like if you're at an office desk, your fingers can separate into like 80 different little attachments.
Okay. Okay.
Mm, that would be one. So like I said, Wolverine claws. You can't tell me that there's not going to be a bunch of nerdy guys and gals that are going to be lining up just to get
Oh yeah, don't
Look,
get me wrong. That sounds
that
like it'd
shit
be really
grafted to their
popular. I'm
skeleton.
look, you can keep the Wolverine claws. I'll take mantis blades any day where I watch my own arms just curl up and giant blades come barreling out.
I mean that too, but any type of augmentation like that, that would be extremely popular. You don't have to go full blown Cyclops, but the laser beam firing from your freaking eyeball.
I just want sharks with frickin' laser beams.
yeah. So
But
you
a lot, I see what Ken said with the augmentation where your fingers separate out into multiple things. I think I've seen something like that in either an anime or a movie. I know it was
Oh
something
yeah,
that was
Ghost in the
futuristic.
Shell, Ghost in the Shell, both the live action movie with Scarlett Johansson and the anime of Ghost in the Shell itself. Yeah, all of those all of those security protocol ladies that were always strapped and fully augmented into those chairs on the computers for Section
Yep.
9. Yep, that was their hands. Like they would split apart and they would be typing at such a rapid rate they were encoding everything that was happening.
So what about okay? So with the hand thing, what about didn't dude in Cyber or Edge Runners 2077? Didn't one of the guys in Edge Runners have that?
Oh yeah, I mean that was super common for like any hand augmentation, like uh, the gorilla fists, the tripwire that would come out of the palm of your hand, like all
Well,
of that stuff.
well
Like
what
it was super common.
the thing I remember was he got a new pair of hands and they were like extra long fingers and they were gold, but like each finger would split open and become like three or four different hands. So each hand had like 15 different fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got that, and also another movie. I wouldn't call that a cyber augmentation, but it goes into augmentation. Aeon Flux with Charlize Theron. Her partner had her feet replaced with
With extra
hands.
hands. Yeah, that's right. So that way they could that way the chick could like actually grab onto stuff with her feet.
Yeah.
Both for a combat tactical and a traversal tactical.
I
Yep.
don't know. I think okay, so for me it would be like having nanites in your body that can help you manipulate things like running an electrical current through you or creating a heat singularity like a fireball or augmenting the area around you to be super cold or super hot or changing the environment around you but keeping the nanites close enough to either be on your body or in your body at all times.
No, if I'm going to go with nanites, then I'm just going to go and have it create me a fucking Iron Man suit.
Oh, he's really into that Iron Man suit. He just wants that chastity belt permanently, you know. Chastity belt on.
Look,
Ching.
look, the chastity belt is there's nothing wrong with that as long as it comes with the fleshlight attachment, okay?
Oh
No,
my
if I'm
god.
going if I'm going to anything with a chastity belt, then it's going to be the augmentation from Rick and Morty with Rick and his crotch protector 3000.
Oh my god.
Nothing's getting through that thing.
Oh my god.
Because there's an episode where he fights himself, which is a toxic version of himself, and he gets kicked in the balls repeatedly, and it just activates. So
Good god. Some sadist bullshit.
I mean, there's also other. Okay, so there's a other. Well, there's a tabletop game that I play called Shadowrun, and in it you can get cyber augmentations. Like you can change your lungs so that you don't have to breathe air at all. You can get it so you can breathe water. Um, you can change your eyes. You can swap out stuff about your skin. So like cyber augmentation is
okay.
like a big part of that game.
Yep.
with that, with cyber augmentation, with what you just mentioned, I'm gonna pose this question: what does our life expectancy change to?
If we can keep our organs and stuff going, it increases by at least 200 to 300 years.
I would say that could be accurate, yeah. As long as but then at the same time, you know, you would need to keep proper maintenance on your
Yeah.
augmentations to prevent any corrosion, erosion, any possible leaks,
My question is
stuff like that.
my question is this: if our lifespan is cybernetic after cybernetic augmentation, if our lifespan becomes 300 or 400 years, right?
Yep.
what happens to our population?
Our population will get,
that's where I was
I
going
mean,
to.
unfortunately, and when you look at it that way, yeah, our population would get there would be way too many people by a landslide. Like, we're at what, 8.6 billion right
I,
now?
Yeah.
I believe our population would go on a decline after that.
No, no, it would not,
No,
because
no,
you're
because,
living three or four times as
procreation and
long, and there's no
Yeah,
one
but
dying out. There's no one dying
you're
out,
getting
and young people. The thing is I understand where you're coming from, because as you get older, you're not putting out as many kids, but the young kids are fucking all the time, and they're
no,
putting out more
it's
kids.
not just that, but the augmentation, you could shut off reproduction.
Well, who the fuck wants to do that?
well, I know if it came down to
Having countless hours of sex without any repercussions, sign me up.
I mean, yeah, us now, but the young kids, they're not going to be able to afford that shit, and I sure should, as a parent, want grandkids at some point.
Yeah, but you're gonna live to like 400 years old, so
Yeah,
I'm
so I'll
pretty
have
sure
a fucking dynasty of people to mourn my fucking death.
that, or
I'm
they're all
pretty
gonna
sure. I'm
that, or
pretty
they're all gonna
sure
be so
your
sick of your
kids.
shit by year 400, they're gonna go, thank God he's finally gone.
God, he was an
I'm pretty
asshole.
sure- I'm pretty sure your kids could shut off reproduction and then turn it right back on when they wanted children. The only problem is going to be the kids who just really don't give a fuck. That's where we're going to overpopulate.
Have you met kids these days? None of them give a
Well,
fuck.
I mean, I've met kids. We've had conversations about our own children.
Yeah. That prime example. Our children. Prime example. None of them give a fuck. Not a
Oof.
single one of them.
Oof.
Well, also with our children too, the intelligence level at some points in time are not. They're not where they need to be.
Listen, I tried my fucking best. And my
I'm saying that you didn't.
my kids are pretty smart. I'm not gonna lie, my kids are pretty smart, but I tried my best. But I'm fairly certain I was a little bit smarter than them at their age.
Maybe at their age, but not anymore.
I mean,
That sounded like a cheap, uncalled for shot that is not true.
You, myself, and Crash had the conversation. I'll forget which one of our children couldn't find something on a map.
I don't remember which one it was, and I think I had posed the question of, do you need a passport to get to Alaska?
Yeah, that was it.
And they were
The
like,
passport to the Alaska. And whenever I started my job as a truck driver, my own daughter kept asking me, "Dad, what country are you in?"
Yep. Yep.
What country are you in? I'm in America. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Sweetie, I haven't left the country. I left the state.
I'm not going to say
but
which
not the
one.
country.
I'm not going to say which one, but I did ask one of our children, when you drive to Puerto Rico, do you need a passport to get into the country? The whole thing was a trick question, of course, because the answer is you don't drive to Puerto Rico. It's an island. But
Right.
she didn't know that at the time, or it just was not common knowledge, which I didn't know why, because she's in high school. And that's like, what? You're not familiar with Puerto Rico at all at this point?
To be fair, I'm not either. Fuck off.
Okay, well, I have a question for you then.
Oh God, no! I'm not answering.
You're not answering?
Leave me alone. Leave me alone.
Okay, well, I see both sides there where our world can be overpopulated, but I can also see where it could go into a decline too. Because there's countless people out there now that are not our children, but they are of, I want to say, 19 to 25 in that age group who never want children to begin with. So they would just kill their reproductive.
Listen, I've seen most of those people and the things that they say and do, and you know what? They don't need to breed anyway, so I am totally fine with that. Like, not all of them, but clearly some of them do not need to have children because they can't they can't take care of a cactus, much less a child.
Yeah, well,
I keep a cactus in my bathroom.
and use it for toilet paper.
No, I haven't had to go that far yet.
Screechy, screechy, scratch. What's all this
Okay,
brown
so
stuff on the spikes?
This scratch,
So-
scratch. I was cleaning my crack.
no, number one used cyber augmentation would be prosthetics.
Mm-hmm. I think we
Most
all agree on
popular would be.
that. The penis.
Damn it!
I knew,
Chapel.
I knew that was coming out of Chapel's mouth when I said the most popular. Not the most popular to you, Squirrely Dan. The most popular to the world.
The penis.
Oh, Jesus.
Listen, if you don't have something
if-
immediately to come into there, you're gonna have to. You're not gonna be able to stop me.
He said, "Come."
Yeah, I did. From the penis.
Okay.
Why do I wake up in the morning for this?
Because you enjoy it.
Do I?
Are you sure about
Mo-
that?
Aside from the penis, most popular for the world would be what exactly?
Most popular. I would say, just given the way our world works, most popular, hands down, would have to be weapon augmentation.
So, cybernetic weapon augmentation.
Yeah, just
Which
just
means
weapons
they-
in
you could
general.
You could turn your arm into like one of the guys from Stride, where it turns into a cannon,
Yeah, a cannon
or you can
a
become like
gun,
Cyborg and
Yeah.
have
or have mantis
all that
blades.
shit,
Yeah, or have mantis blades.
or
the
mantis
way-
blades.
You know, I mean, look,
Okay,
man.
so popular is weapon. Number one is prosthetic. Popular is weapon, and life expectancy is anywhere between what our average is now is of 70 up to fucking 300 to 400 years old.
Yeah. By the way, this is all speculative. We have no actual evidence that we've looked any of this shit up.
Yeah,
Well, I
thi-
mean-
this is all just pure bullshit, especially with Chapel's Gatling cock. Oh my god. I don't know. I might actually say like augment internal organs might be more popular. I mean, as much as I hate to admit it, and as we all hate to admit it, I mean, look at how many people are alcoholics, drug addicts, stuff like that. Well, you know, that causes liver failure, heart disease, yada yada yada. Plus all the
well-
smokers out there. I'm a smoker myself, of course, so, you know.
Thanks for bringing that up, Ken, because that's where I was going to next. Do we find cures to eliminate diseases with cyber augmentation?
know what?
I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure we would find cures of the flesh, but something tells me that we would be creating new diseases involved with the metal. Like, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, because at some point you're going to get metal poisoning from all the stuff inside your body. That being
Right, like
said,
in Cyberpunk, you would always have to. I remember the character, I think it was in Edge Runners, the main character guy. Um, when he got his augmentation, he got really sick from using it, using his augmentation because his body had no idea what the hell was going on,
yeah.
and the doctor didn't give him the medicine for it, and he almost died from it. Like he started getting a massive fever, and he was collapsing, and like a augmentation sickness.
Yeah, I mean, the
Okay.
thing is it's like, oh, Chapel, you have this magnificent Gatling cock, but now
Oh
you're
my god!
sterile. Now you're sterile. You can't have any children. We're sorry. There's always going to be a
What is that?
drawback to it.
Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Wait a minute! That doesn't sound like a problem for you. That
Right.
sounds like your
That's just a
dream. That's
problem
not a
for the rest of the
sickness.
world.
No, here's a sickness. Oh, Chapel, you got a cybernetic Gatling cock. Well, now it's spread. Now there's a disease spreading from that area going up into your heart. That's a problem. Not you're sterile.
Now your semen is radioactive and poisoning everyone.
Exactly. You're killing people, including yourself. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
What? It's not a compliment.
Yeah, it is. I mean, can
See,
you imagine
that's what
if
I was.
have if I have
That's what I was asking about with
radioactive
that.
minigun cock? I can go to the front lines of any war and be an asset.
No.
But you're going to be fighting other cyberly augmented people. So what asset are you really going to be doing?
Radioactive
Super sperm?
semen. Radioactive semen. I was already diagnosed.
For fuck's sake. Oh,
that would be more like the world's most contagious STD than anything.
Okay, so we're gonna dial it back and put it on a more serious note.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Well, that's
talking
what I was
about-
trying to get to with that, with the curing of certain illnesses and diseases. My whole thing is, do cybernetics go as far as helping someone out who has dementia, or
I don't think dementia would be able to be done, mainly because it involves a lot of the brain, and messing with that would on top of being just extremely dangerous, could possibly kill the patient.
I would say not only that, but so say you augmented your brain itself, right? Well, you're gonna still, if you want to make it humane, anyways, you're gonna want to re-download their memories and everything like that into that augmentation. So if they already have something like dementia, there's already going to be a severe gap in their memories, and you're just downloading a bunch of random blank files. So I feel like that the dementia aspect would not be curable from that point, that you're just going to be stuck with that. Maybe it won't get worse if you re-augment it, but you're still going to be at where you left off.
Now, going back to the disease thing, I think what we would wind up doing is that we would wind up, instead of trying to cure the disease, we would just get rid of the symptom altogether. Like, say you have lung cancer, well, we'll just replace your lungs with augmented lungs, and you don't have the cancer anymore, and you can just keep smoking, and it'll, the augmentation will just process the smoke.
Right. Another thing that you could end up seeing that could be a severe problem, especially since, there's no true data on like what would happen if you put an augmentation in. What about stuff like flesh necropsy?
Oh, yeah. So
wherever the augmented piece is connected to, if if that doesn't go unchecked, like there's a chance that the flesh around all the rest of the area could become necrotic,
Yeah.
and it's going to affect you
Now
badly.
Well,
that's a
see, that
story.
go
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
that goes into the other part of all that too, with all the augmentation, the weaponization, the prosthetics, and everything else, and of course, the rotating, spinning Gatling cock. What happens to the skin?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Are we
you
going?
would
Are we
have
going to have?
to.
Are we going to have? Are we going to have like synthetic skin to cover it back? Cover it back up, or is everyone just going to be walking around with shiny chrome sticking out somewhere?
Or on the flip side of that, do we come out looking like Vash the Stampede from the Trigon? You know,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Where it's just,
it's just
it's
shit's just bolted into your fucking skin.
That's
yeah.
it. Well, yeah.
I feel like, especially when it goes to that, I feel like it would depend on the augmentation. Like, you could definitely, depending on what kind of augmentation you got, you could definitely put a synthetic skin over it, to mask it. Otherwise, like other certain parts, or even if you didn't have the finances, you could even look at it that way. If you didn't have the finances for that much synthetic, movable, and shiftable skin for your augmentation, you would just be walking around chromed out.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. Is it reminded me of this woman that when I was in that first nursing home as a housekeeper, she was in there. She was maybe between 45 and 55, and she just wanted to die. She had something wrong with her stomach. Necrosis had set in, and she was just like, "Just put me on painkillers till I die." And man, I went in to clean her room, and it just smelled like rot all the time.
Right, and with something like that, who's to say that with the augmentations that would be what we smell on a regular basis, like from all these people, like especially when you go to bigger cities and stuff, like you're gonna smell that flesh everywhere because everyone's just chroming out.
Okay.
And
With that, what kind of environmental impact do we make on the world?
exactly,
Or
like
are
are
we
we
going to have
going
to find
to,
another planet?
Yeah.
like, are we going to cause more environmental damage by removing our flesh and augmenting it to such a degree? Um, could we be making it worse? Could we be making it better?
Well,
These are all questions that we.
here's an idea, and it just popped in my head. But with the lungs thing, what if we decide we wanted to go start colonizing planets, and instead of terraforming them, we just we just
Send a bunch of augmented people with
no, we just reset
lungs that
this.
doesn't have to breathe oxygen?
We just reset the settings for the people that are going to that planet. We just reset the settings for that atmosphere.
So we don't
So
have to terraform it. We just
yeah,
have to
Right,
get
so
it
so you
to.
can actually breathe in, like, so
We
breathing in
don't.
air for our flesh lungs is healthy and natural, but like you
So
go to a
basically
gaseous planet and you
we
breathe in
get we
gas
get
and it's healthy.
yeah,
so basically we get well, it's sort of in the anime. So basically we get Cowboy Bebop.
something like that. On Cowboy Bebop, though, they had already terraformed those planets that they were
Oh yeah,
on.
they terraformed every planet that they're on, but still we kind of get that. But instead of just creating an atmosphere like Earth, we just leave the atmosphere alone and get shit that we
Make it
get
so
shit to
so we
grow.
can breathe. Yeah, make it so we
Right.
can breathe that. Now, here's my secondary question.
Mhm.
At what point do you guys think that cybernetic augmentation turns into a oh, what do they call it? A like
Like
like biotechnology. Like instead
it
of metal and other organic technology. That's the one I'm thinking of.
I feel like that would be like, see, that could go one of two ways. Either the chroming becomes so popular that they stop thinking about biological aspects, or it gets to a point where they realize that the chroming isn't where it's at, and it could even raise the capabilities of biological even farther. At least that's my personal opinion.
Right.
Kid, what do you
I
think
agree
on
with
that?
that. I mean, you kind of hit that one right on the head. So for on my end, I'm also looking at that with all that, and going into tying this into the life expectancy. Do we bury our dead, or we take them to a scrap heap and
Here's
process them
actually
to be turned into something
so
else?
actually here's another idea. I don't know if either of you have seen Altered Carbon. That
No,
that
I
runs
haven't.
on both biological and cyber augmentation. It's a world with both. Um, so you're downloaded into something called a stack,
Hmm.
which is a hexagonal chip that is implanted into the back of your neck, into the nape.
Okay.
And if you hit the nape and you break that, they're dead forever. Like they're actually dead. But say you get shot in like the heart or the stomach, or you bleed out to death or something like that, and that
So a
chip,
fatal wound that would kill you and the chip's still intact, they're able to take that chip and implant it into another body.
Yeah.
right, the process was called re-sleeving. That takes both a cybernetic augmentation and a biological augmentation into one.
Yeah. It
So that right there would just eliminate life expectancy, period, because that would
And
be
it
more
and it
along in the
does,
rounds
but
of immortality.
here's the trick. They actually, in the show, they actually thought about that. They were like, okay, well, how do we make this more realistic? So they look at it this way. The main character got sent to prison. Well, when you go to prison in that particular realm of existence, you're not in a sleeve or a body. They just take the chip out and they leave you for however many years that you are stuck in. But whatever your sentence was, you were put in a little jar with your name written on it, and they're like, "Yep, he's in prison right now. He's not allowed to be in a physical body. He's not allowed to breathe. He's not allowed to eat, sleep, anything. He's just stuck in his own mind conscious of what was left
okay.
before he died."
I have a question for that. I have a question for that. At what
Hmm.
point? At what point is it just a copy of his personality? Like, is it his actual soul? Does his soul go into the data, or is his soul gone and it's just a copy of his personality being put into something? It's kind of the ghost in the shell theory.
Right, and they never did fully express that, of course. And but they did actually explain that um it did get kind of weird, especially depending on how many times you have re-sleeved. You get something called sleeve sickness. So what that means is, depending on, like, for him, for existence, this main character,
Mm-hmm.
he died a very bloody death. His last body died in an extremely bloody death. So when they sleeved him and everything started connecting into his body again, he freaked
Okay.
massively. He jumped up, grabbed the first guy, grabbed a knife, held it up to his throat, and they're like, "Crap, this one died a violent death. Like, this is a bad person." But at the same time, he would also, over time, he started getting memories.
Okay,
Like,
so with that would basically move everything into a combination of two movies. and that would be RoboCop meets Demolition Man.
Yeah, virtually. So like even this guy, so his last body, he wasn't a smoker, never smoked. But his new sleeve, he was a chain smoker. So he'd pick up a cigarette and not even think about it, and it was just muscle memory to that sleeve. And when someone finally was like, "Why are you smoking?" and he just goes, "Huh, I don't know. It's just natural to me, I guess." It's like and then on top of that, from a financial point too, um, there is. Oh, you know what? Actually, no, they did explain it. You are soulless. There was a big controversy. Not to throw out, just from the show. Please,
Yeah.
no one take
Yeah.
offense.
No, you're good.
The Spanish families, in this show were super against sleeving and stacking, um, because they felt you sacrifice your soul. You are no longer pure in God's eyes, and you lost all chances. However, the rich people would back up their data um, on a day every 24 hours, and that was like the whole premises of this show. The first season was
Mm-hmm.
about this rich guy who got killed before his stack got uploaded into the cloud again. So he lost memories of stuff he actually did, and he didn't know why. So he hired somebody to investigate that.
Okay.
Why did my stack not get backed up? Why is this
Okay,
sleeve of
so
me dead? Why is this copy
the,
of me dead?
this is a show called Altered Carbon.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
I've got to actually sit down and watch this. 'Cause this is sounding even more interesting.
Dude, it really honestly is. Like they even like put ideas of like interrogation and stuff into the mix. It's not even physical anymore. They just download your brain into like a simulation chamber and make it as realistic as possible.
Make you
Yeah.
relive the AOL dial-up online internet
Yeah.
sounds over and over again.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Like this guy was tortured. He was set on fire multiple times. He was shot multiple times, stabbed, and his body would remember it over and over and over again. And then his body would forget it on purpose, but his brain still remembered it. So, but they would keep resetting the simulation every time he died,
Yeah.
and then they would do it again. Like and that's like a big thing into the whole cyber and especially the biological augmentation aspect of things. Like they went from cyber and then they went biological. So like that was the one way.
Yeah.
I say with that, we've got cyber, we got bio, augmentation completely in that, and that goes right into what Chapel said at the beginning of this. You know, for good purposes, bad purposes, makes no difference. It's morality that's going to come into play big time, and it's going to have to come into play big time.
Right. And it all depends on what kind of person you are at
Yeah.
that point. Literally, like like for example, like you have this kind of like, as they would put it in Altered Carbon, you're virtually your own god. You can live as long as you want. What are you gonna do with that? Are you just gonna be the biggest asshole in the world? Or are you gonna try to be good? Or are you gonna live so long that that line of morality of good and bad is just blurred now because you've been alive for that long?
Yeah.
I think with that, for myself, in instance, if that was a possibility, I think I would live just to complete everything that I wanted to complete. And once I was done with that, and I got to see not only my kids grow up, but the grandkids, the great
Yeah.
grandkids, and so on and so forth, I think at that point in time, my life would be so complete. I'm like, okay, love you all. I'm done. I just can't go on any further.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Actually, sorry to keep pulling out Altered Carbon, but they did do a little skit. They did one episode about that too. Spanish family. They decided, this lady decided to re-sleeve her grandmother, who they hadn't seen in a long time. So when this lady got up, granted, she was in a she was in a body that was a heavy drug addict, an alcoholic,
Yeah.
and at that point made this guy look like he was as gay as a parade. But um at the end of that, the grandmother looked at her granddaughter and went, "Okay, I I have seen my family for the last time. I don't want to be woken up ever again. Please shut me down and don't ever wake me up. It's
Right.
time to go." So like from your aspect on that kid, like, and that was her wish. And then so that was like that whole little story arc of her. She got to see what she wanted. She got to do everything she wanted, and now she's
I
done.
mean, with that, I would be okay with that, and also I'd probably have it in there like, hey, you know, in once every 100 years, wake me up, just so I can live a year and then go right back,
Right.
just
Okay.
to see what the world has become.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, we're actually overtime. So, final thoughts?
I think cyber augmentation would be cool, but at the same time, I also see why it's not done,
Yeah.
why it hasn't been done yet.
Kid?
I see the good benefits of cyber augmentation. I see the bad benefits. I I think before as the world itself, before we further AI, we actually need to do more work with cyber augmentation, because that would be more beneficial than having a fully autonomous sex robot.
That Chapel so desperately wants.
Oh, whatever. All right, guys. Thank you all for listening. If you like this, like and share with people you think would enjoy it. You all have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening.
Don't
See ya.
forget to give us a follow
Yeah,
so you know
please.
when we post new ones.
Give us a like, a follow, a share, and chrome up, Choom.
Chrome up, choom. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.